Our story begins, like most stories, with a seed. This particular seed fell from its great tree on a listless afternoon in late spring. It took root within the walls of a village called Hidden Hollow, which was surrounded on all sides by stone walls and dense forest. And like all seeds of this species, commonly known as the walking wood, it first grew into a giant acorn. The first year is a vulnerable time for any newborn of the walking wood. They grow from deep within their acorns and they have no way of defending themselves. So it was dutifully guarded by one of the protectors of Hidden Hollow, a ladybug named Priscilla. She kept it clean of forest growth and fought away any creatures that might steal it for food until, the following spring, a young boy emerged. The boy, like all his kind, had made his way to the outside world by eating. He'd hollowed out his acorn by ingesting it, absorbing all the nutrients and knowledge that the great tree had woven into the fibers. He'd learned to read, write, and speak all before his first birthday, and he'd grown as tall as he would ever be. And there he would reside for the rest of his time, the acorn he was born within serving as his home, and spending his days attending to the needs of the great tree and the surrounding village. Or at least he would have, were his path a typical one. It's his story I wish to tell. The boy squinted into the sunshine until his eyes adjusted. He stood in the opening of his now home, shivering in the chill morning air and cataloging his surroundings with wide eyes. He marveled at the size of the great tree, the infinite blue skies above, and the busyness of morning life in Hidden Hollow. "Hello, little one," Priscilla, the ladybug, said, sitting on a crooked post in front of his acorn. "It's nice to finally meet you." The boy knew her voice. He'd heard it through his walls many times, but he was shy and merely smiled in return. "What is your name?" Priscilla asked. He blinked up at her for a moment, then picked up a nearby branch and wrote his answer in the soil. "Huh," Priscilla thought. "Well, he's an odd one." Vegas turned out to be a curious mind and an apt student, though a terribly quiet one. He stepped into the flow of his village quickly, helping in whatever ways were needed, and never complaining or shrugging off any of his duties. He was well liked in Hidden Hollow, yet his free time was nearly always spent alone, reading, writing in his notebooks, or simply pondering. His people, kind as they may be, were people of the here and now. Their curiosities were small and easily satisfied, and their interest in the outside world was minimal. Some dabbled in trade between villages, but even that was infrequent. Vegas, on the other hand, had a genuine fondness for questions. It was an awkward pairing for someone so shy. Whenever he wondered aloud, he was typically met with confusion from his peers. "Everything we need is here," they'd say. "What does it matter what the rest of the world does?" He had no answer, but the questions persisted regardless. So like all those whose nature is misunderstood, he quickly learned to keep his musings to himself. Unless Priscilla had time to visit. She, it turned out, enjoyed ideas as much as he did.